Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to your executive summary for the 26th of August 2015. And of course, what a market it's been. The volatility that we've seen over this last week has been just a trader's dream. But of course, we need to get back to trying to diffuse the noise and get right back to technicals. So the big one has happened. The Asian economies have obviously collapsed. Or had a big slip anyway, and so have the European countries. So let's get straight into it. We've been talking about this obviously for a while. Quite a while back in Trading Room, we talked about the coming down to a first test of support around that 1870 level, possibly down to even 1840. We bounced right off that area in the last couple of days, and we've been rickshawing back and forth with beautiful technical strength. And these have been some dangerous markets for those trying to chase the trade, but a day trader's dream. And of course, some of the option plays and so forth that we've been holding have worked out extremely well. Now we can take a let's take a look here at some of the different plays we've got. Now the market, we sent out an executive summary this morning, for those of you who caught that, where we said, despite the fact that the market's closed down these last few days, beware of chasing the shorts, and that we felt the market would actually close at the top and start to push higher today, and we did. Today we closed right at the top, and we basically, overseas we see the Hang Seng and Nikkei both up about 2% or so when I last checked. So this could relay into a further rally tomorrow and further short squeeze. I think that what's on the agenda, what they're going to want to do is try and squeeze this all the way up to what would be a perfect resistance, would be right there around 1970. Now, because open range of Friday, the low of Friday's options expiration day was 1970.89. So that is some key resistance, also where this moving average is going to come down. So the perfect place for this to kind of rally up into would be to rally up, hit 1970, and that would be a great place if we can just bounce off that resistance and start closing down. Great place for the shorts. So of course this morning we talked about being patient and letting the trade come to you, and that's we'll talk about a couple of those in a moment. But obviously some worth mentioning. Zoe's has been incredible. I mean, this was one from August 11th that we looked at, talked about buying these $34 puts back on August 11th. That had a huge drop, hitting a low of 31. This is still looking very weak, and so this is one to keep an eye on because it's falling down underneath the 5-day exponential moving average. It had a massive P to E ratio of 1200 plus back here in August. It's still very high, obviously, and has had no lift in today's strong close. So that's got a nice weakness to it that's still continuing through. So this is one that's still very hot on my trade list and still might be something that I look at tomorrow, and we'll keep you up to date on things like that. But that's one hopefully to keep on your own watch list that we are still following in our day-to-day stock report, and one that may still be actionable. But that one, obviously, big profits already for those of you in that, and I wanted to touch on that one. Another one that we've been following, NSR, this one, Newstar, has had a lot of resistance under 27. Now, I'm not in this one yet, but I'm looking to see how this starts to react. If we get that push in the market, that rally up, starting to see how it acts, firstly with this moving average here, but as it retests this trend line that you can see from all of these lows. So we've got the 200 that it's just broken through. So we're going to look at that retracement, hopefully up to there and then back down. But that's another one on my watch list. Some stocks that I took some half positions in today. Now these are longer term options. HOG was one of them. HOG, I bought some, let's have a look at some $40 puts, as well as some $57.50 puts, I believe was the other transaction on this one. And this one's just got I mean, if you look at the long-term chart, We'll just go back to some of the, where this one's come from. This is this could have a long way to fall if it runs into problems. So that was why this was why it was one that we really looked at and were quite favourable on, and one that we were publishing in our intraday alerts today. So on HOG, sorry, just to correct myself, I bought $50 puts and $40 puts. Both are January 2016 expiration, and looking to add to that position as we rally. Of course, we mentioned to this today that the ideal position for a stock trade that we're waiting for is up in that 57 to 56 area that we see at that under that resistance line. So there was one. The other one that I started positioning into today, again, the longer term options, we're not so concerned with, the smaller price movements because we are looking for big drops. So we're happy to kind of scale in. PKG was another one. You can see this closed kind of in the middle of its range today. Not a very inspiring move today in the market. And PKG, we picked up some 57.50 puts. That was what I was confusing it with. 57.50 January puts and $40 puts, also January, which were fairly cheap. Got those for 30 cents. Well, no, so an average price of 41 cents. So we're looking at, hey, if that can really drop, then those could move considerably. Even if they don't get down to the strike price, if they have a significant drop, that could increase in value exponentially. So that was the kind of look that we were looking on PKG. Now, I'll just have a look at these next ones. Of course, LVS is another one. LVS is... We bought these $50 puts, December $50 puts for $2.73. They're currently $7.60, and that of course also didn't have much of a lift today. In fact, I've got my screenshot from my brokerage account. You can see here the positions that I'm currently holding on the options and where we're kind of positioned in at these currently. This is a snapshot of some of those, and looking just continue to add to that, but. So you can see there there's LVS, there's the PKG I was talking to you about. These have been continually exciting. LVS is substantially down now, and this is also something that could continue to have that weakness that didn't get a lift today, but something I'm also holding long term. Now a couple of others that I'm watching tomorrow. Again, we're just kind of waiting to see what the market does before we start adding too many more. We don't need to buy new positions every single day, but the two new ones that I'm looking at is DATA, Tableau Software. This is definitely high on my interest list. Again, you can see not a huge lift today. We'll see how that interacts. And the other one is WHR, Whirlpool. Huge exposure to China and Brazil and so forth, and I've been waiting for a break of this 160 area, but also considering the potential if it rallies up into the resistance around 180. So just a couple of trade ideas, but we're just kind of sitting on the sidelines waiting to see what happens in the next day or so. Again, it's been an awesome period of profit for the last week or two for those of you who've been participating in this market action. So hopefully that gives you some ideas, but also an update, of course, on things we've been following for these last few weeks. So with that, I wish you all an extremely fortuitous day tomorrow. And of course, for those of you all joining us in the webinar, we look forward to seeing you. If you are not already registered for our webinar, we are doing a stock scanning, free stock scanning workshop open to the public tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. And so if you're not registered, it's open to the public, it's complimentary, and we'll be talking about some of these things for a lot of our non-members who haven't been in on these webinars, bringing you up to speed as to why we've been doing all of this and what we see kind of coming next, and talking about some of the other classes that we have in the meantime that you can tune in on. So that's acornwealthcorp.com/event, acornwealthcorp.com/event, E-V-E-N-T, and then you can get enrolled. Again, 8 p.m. Eastern, Thursday night. That's today or tomorrow, depending on what time you're watching this, and I hope to see you all there. Have a wonderful evening, and happy trading.